All right, so I don't know if anybody's coming or how many people we'll have hanging out with us today, but what's going to happen is we'll go through the Linux Socratic method. I'll let you guys answer those questions for yourselves. If you want me to type anything up or do anything in the window, let me know. I have access to it. So as the questions start popping up, if you need me to show you anything, I can do that, right? So you guys just feel free to participate or not participate as much as you want. I'm going to be working over here in the other... Yeah, I guess I have the music up a little loud today. But I'm not really going to be talking much, so... There you go. Is that better? Yeah, I'm not going to be talking too much today because... Oh, you know what? People had me turn that up the other day. That's probably better. People had me turn that up the other day while I was doing something, so fair enough. It tends to be more like over here. Yeah, that's fair. Fair point. Okay. Yeah, because you guys were listening to me yesterday. Today, we're just going through the Linux Socratic method, and then we are doing that and asking ourselves questions and answering them, and I can put notes in. Oh, nice. M4600, that's awesome. Are you looking, or are you already in the field? That's really awesome. That is super cool. So every 2 minutes and 30 seconds, this is going to roll forward to the next question. So you can take notes. I have notes on all this up in our Discord if anybody needs them. If this goes fast, or you're like, oh, that's a fun little method, but I want to see what other people answered, I have compiled all of the different answers over the years. Well, over the last year or so of us doing this method. So we're just going to ask ourselves questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? And then we're going to go see if we can do it. M4600, that's really awesome. That can be a real game changer for people trying to get into the industry. So that's super awesome. I'm going to be co-working on my labs and other things that I'm doing in my other window. So, yeah, we will be doing... actually, I am going to keep updating stuff as I go. So you guys are welcome to, talk amongst yourselves. And I can see both the Twitch. You know, I thought about down here putting the, instead of having my notepad there, I thought about just putting your chats down like we've had the last few days. But we'll probably be all right with just the notepad, and then I'll pull that up if anybody has any questions and wants to know anything. And then I can add, any additional questions from this presentation back into the next run. So I think we're up to 170. I'm pretty sure this is approximately 170 slides right now. So this is just gonna ask you guys questions, and some of you guys it's gonna be really easy because you've seen them all before, but some of them I know in the later versions of it start getting a little more challenging. So every 2 minutes and 30 seconds it's going to switch to the next one. So been using Linux 4 years now, not professionally, have data center experience and trying to transition to a Linux role. Our HCSA is just the beginning. That's awesome. M4600. We have a free, I'm never going to charge anybody anything on Discord, but we've got a free Discord course right now that deals with systems administration. And in that systems administration role, it looks at being a Linux engineer, or the tasks that it takes to operate Linux in an environment and then eventually get that engineering role. But it's starting out with the what does a systems operator, or what we call systems administrator, do, which there's a lot of overlap, right? Like there's a lot of things that you have. There's architects, there's engineers, and there's admins, and the overlap, I would say the overlap is like I need to, maybe I need to draw this out. Hold on, can we go over here to our little whiteboard? New little whiteboard. Yeah, you guys should be able to see my little whiteboard here. If I had to kind of draw this out This is how I would do this. Draw. I would go like this. I would say, architect, and then I would say like engineer, and then I would say admin, right? And but what then if I were to draw lines here, not great lines, but if I were to draw these lines, the engineer, he gets to kind of go up into this space. I'd say probably like 30% of the way, and he gets to go down into this space. I'd say like 100% of the way. So like an engineer's doing all of this stuff. He's doing drawing and design and all this stuff. But admins, as you first start out your career, you're down here, and you also kind of get to go maybe like 50% of the way, if I had to kind of guess, in my career anyways, up into engineering. I was never really called an admin. I was always called an engineer from the beginning. But I did a lot of admin work to get there. I just never really had the title admin. But you're gonna move that, and then architects kind of go down, maybe like 50% down into engineering space, and then they stay up in their space. But engineers probably have the widest swath of things that they do, right? If I were to kind of think of it between these things, because like as an engineer, I have to draw stuff out and plan it all the time. Architects tend to be like back there ideating, but they don't really get to do the build stuff that me and the admins do. They do more of like the planning, and they might do some proof of concepts and minimum viable projects, minimum viable product things that we do. But they don't do a whole lot of, the architects aren't on call and stuff. On call's down here in the admin space, but engineers do on call, that's for damn sure. You never get out of there unless you go take a full architect role. So anyways, that's my kind of thoughts on that. So my thing is our little Linux systems administration course, which is again completely free, is kind of getting people ready for some of that stuff. All right, so I'm going to be over here working on stuff. You guys can answer those questions or not. That's up to you. And let me go find... Let's start putting together my labs by the order of these other things that I'm doing. Network devices, lab 1.2. So I'm putting together all of my lab settings here. There we go. Yeah, M4600, I'm also curious, how was it? How did you like it? How did it kind of work for you? And it looks like a lot of people are congratulating you, so that's good. It's always good. All right. Storage devices. Hey, movie time. We're just hanging out. We are again not working too hard. That's the theme of most of my last few days. But we're doing a little bit of co-working, but it's the Socratic method. So while I'm working on my other stuff, you guys can be looking at what is what is interesting to you. What is if you can answer these questions. If you can't answer these questions, you can always ask everybody. You can also ask me. You can say, "Hey, will you tell me that one because I don't know it?" And then I'll jump over here and be like, "Yeah, I can figure that out." So, what is the manufacturer of the chip? I would go ahead and cat proc CMD. Sorry, cat proc CPU info, and then maybe I can find it there, and then maybe I can do a DMI decode grep-i proc. And that might give me some information, but maybe I just need to do more on DMID code and look and say, well, I see that there's a CPU is Intel. Yep, manufacturer is Intel. So that's a piece of information. That's a way to see it. Also, I got to change this around just a little bit because my thing's going off the bottom. All right, there we go. So, I can see information about the system and kind of what's going on, and then I could answer over here if I needed to and say, yeah, I know how to find that. And if I didn't know how to find that, I would go put that in my notes. You guys know I'm a real big fan of getting your notes right. So can you tell me the architecture of this chip? Is it what's the type of processor? Right. Oops. What's the architecture of the system that I'm on, and how might I know that? How might I be able to validate? What would it take for me to find out that this system was for sure some kind of x86-64? Chris, I'm a lot better, man. I yesterday I didn't eat all day. I had a little bit for breakfast, and then I was sitting around all day, and my head was just rocking. So then I passed out, and when I woke up, I took a shower, and then I went and got some food, and I felt a million times better last night. Yep. So then I got to bed early, and then I need to get back to working out, but I'll probably start that tomorrow. And then, I'm pretty good. Everything's kind of moving along, so. Yep, things are moving along. So after storage devices are set up in my environment, I am going to check out Prometheus. One point 4, check out Prometheus. One point 5. Cluster logging. Yeah, no, it's a lot better, guys. It's mostly for me. This is some kind of, I think normally it's some kind of allergies or something, but how do we check? Yeah, how do we check if we're in virtual lab? Vert what tells us if we have that installed. We also have DMI decode, maybe grep-i for vert and see if there's any, or prod and see who the product is, or we could just do more as well and see. Oh, well, yeah, we're with Zen. We're on Zen, so we're definitely on some kind of hardware virtualization module. So, okay, right. And the point of a lot of this stuff, and the same thing I tell, like, I'm building training as we talk right now for engineers. And the thing is just to get the guys hands-on and experience with a lot of this stuff, right? I want them to be able to touch and hold all these pieces in their hand, and then record the output if they need to, and figure out what's going on in the system that we're giving them. And then I've told you guys I gotta suck it up and go out to Hawaii for I gotta go to Hawaii for 4 days, so I'm really taking one for the team there. Me and the wife are gonna stay for another day, so we're gonna go out there for 4, and then 4 of training, and then we're gonna stay a 5th day and just kind of check out Honolulu. So I've never been to Hawaii at all, so this will be a first for me. In fact, this will be my first OCONUS state. I've never been to Alaska or Hawaii. So OCONUS means not in the continental United States. There's 48 continental United States, and here's a fun thing to go Google if you guys want. What is the last of the continent? What is the 48th state? Before we added Alaska and Hawaii, which one's the 48th state? I know this because I live here. But what state was added last to the continental United States? Continental means on the continent of America proper, right? Not Alaska, which doesn't count because it's so far away. But yeah, the continental United States is only the first 48, right? I guess you probably only use that terminology if you're in the military for the most part. If you're in the stateside, CONUS or OCONUS, check out cluster logging. And then I'm going to have Kubernetes system checkout. Let me check here. I'm getting text from the wife. So my wife just sent me a picture where she's at, and I said, "Is that shale or slate?" And then she goes, "It's a granite quarry." And I said, "Oh, don't take things in life for granted." Anybody know what that's from? You just don't want to take life for granted. I do not have a Telegram chat for Linux. No, Big Bazooka. We really just hang out on Discord and Twitch, and then we do a little bit on YouTube just because people tend to like hanging out on YouTube. So, nope, I don't have a Telegram or any of that kind of stuff going on. Nope. That is a Rick and Morty thing, for sure. Don't take life for granted. How long have you been saying it like that? And then he snips his memory to make him forget that it happened. He's like, you seem to be the one who decides what memories I get to keep. So terrible. That's funny. All right. So you guys are doing that. I'm over here in a different window again that you guys can't see. Just running through and building out lab information and doing logging and all this kind of stuff. All right, start time, end time. And then I need to renumber all of these, which is always fun. So restart numbering at 1. Restart numbering at 1. All right. That's all that I got so far for 1, 2. Lab 2.1 is going to be memory topics. I wonder if that seems like that's sitting there a long time. Maybe, let's see. Hopefully it gets going down into the memory. Going over to 2. And I'm starting with werewolf. Werewolf system overview. And then how deep are we in memory right now? This is only the second one. We're just looking at the second. Actually, this is the first question. How can you tell me how much RAM we have? So, you know, free-m. And there's always this one, cat proc meminfo. But the problem with this one you're going to see immediately is that's pretty unusable. So I tell people, like, your system has all the raw data that most of your tools look at down here in proc, but I mean your tools are going to read it just fine, you know. Let's just say vmstat 1, you know, 5. Like this system can tell me things better than I can go look at them raw, you know. Like it's kind of just a nice wrap. There's a lot of nice wrappers around the raw data. And, you know, in the similar ways that we don't like to look at HTML as raw HTML, we shouldn't interact with our system in a overly unnecessarily raw way. Now, sure, if you're building kernel modules, if you're going down in and plugging in, you know, and you're trying to squeeze that last little bit of whatever out of your system, sure, you can go in there. In fact, I go into the kernel when I need to get very specific tuning parameters for very specific types of systems. Sure, that's more systems engineering side of things, but I don't just go hang out in there, if that makes sense. I will let the tools tell me generically this is a pretty hefty box and it's not doing much, but it does have a lot in the buffer cache for some reason. Then I could clear out that cache and see how long that takes to fill back up if I wanted to, right? I think I even asked, how do you clear out the cache? Do you know how to do that? Oh, thanks for the follow. Is that Comediante as opposed to Commandante? Comediante 91. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Comedian something. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'll go with that. How much RAM we have used? Most of these questions are going to get answered by this one screen. You can also get away with like top and htop sometimes, and they'll tell you a good amount of information. So, let's see. How would your system react if you clear the cache? Well, we can check. Let's. One test is worth a 1,000 expert opinions. Let's clear the cache. Echo 3 into proc sys VM drop caches. Now let's go see. Does my system still run? Did it actually drop the cache? Buffer cache kind of looked like it filled up immediately, or it means so when you do this with an Echo 3, you are dropping all the cache that's not currently being used, whether or not it's been committed to memory. And it's very possible that something is legitimately holding that cache open. So, I mean, I'm not used to that not working. We can also do the old way. Sync, sync, sync. And then drop it with that. Nope, still there. So something's either protecting that memory or it's really being used in some way. In fact, I've never seen a buffer cache not drop before. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Comedian, yeah, I haven't ever been to Brazil, but Brazil's on one of those bucket lists for me to go to one of these days. I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 21 years now. So I'm a big fan of that. That's a fun little sport. Oh, is that right? Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know what's going on with me. That's probably what it is. It's morning for me. Yeah, so that killed the buffer cache. Good. So so then the question was, how does our system behave? Well, I mean, it's probably still doing fine. We're probably going to watch it slowly fill that back up because that buffer's doing whatever it's doing. Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not too early for me. Actually, it's almost 11, but it's I'm still coming off of being hazy the last few days. INXI. I've never used INXI, Chris. I don't know what that is. I'm not sure what INXI is. I don't know if that's a tool. No, that's not a tool that I have. But you can always DNF what provides INXI, or you can search for it. But if that's a command that exists, you can use what provides and find that it's there. So it's in the EPEL, and it's its own little command. So we're not necessarily using that, but that's good. Okay, so I'm over here determining head node. So I'm doing that. And then we're gonna say checking containers. Shows a ton of system info. Nice. Well, we can install it. I might be more comfortable putting on one of the Rocky boxes, because then the Rocky boxes go away when we're done with them. So DNF install INXI. Just let it install. Let's see what it requires. Oh, so it's all Perl based. There's a little trick some of you guys might not play with too much, but when you go to install something, all the dependencies you see for it, these are all Perl based. All of these. So one of the funny things about it is you can tell like what's in a tool. You know, if you didn't know that, if you're downloading a bunch of Go stuff, if you're downloading a bunch of I don't know, Ruby stuff here, that's what is underpinning this tool. So that's an important thing to kind of know. Let's just install all of it. We'll just put all in, all 17 megs. We got space. INXI. I've never played with this at all. So give you that. That's kind of cool. And then what, you give me a bunch of options. Looks like there's a bunch of, oh yeah, look at that. Just gives you a bunch of infos about the system. It's not a bad little system dump. If you were reporting somewhere, that might not be a bad one, you know, for certain things. Not the worst one I've ever seen, probably, but okay. Sorry guys, I'm over in my other lab. I'm over here putting together more lab stuff. Which node is the head node? Current. Checking container. Yeah, I can tell how much swap we have. Yeah, you guys should be able to do that. Let's say copying. For copying and modifying a container. All right. All right. This will be 2.5, which will be checking current nodes. All right. Ah, we did freeing all of the cache memory. Yep, that's the Echo 3 and throwing on in there. As is my usual, we're not working too hard today, guys. We're just kind of hanging out. You guys can do, this is the Socratic method of learning something where you're just kind of asking yourself, can I do that? And if you can't do it, you either ask the community or you go and kind of look it up, right? Or we have all of these notes. We did this, we've done this a few times, but we have all these notes down in our Discord. So if you wanted to see all the ways to free cache memory, we have like a bunch of ways that people came up with when we've done this before. And I took, I don't know, it's probably about 400 or 500 lines worth of notes on all of these. I think there's 170 total of these. So they're rolling every 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We're in the memory section right now. We'll get into some of the more challenging sections later, but this is all just simple system checkout stuff now. But yeah, can you free all the cache memory if you needed to? Somebody was having a problem with a Java. This has happened to me often in my career because I worked in a shop that was heavily Java. And yeah, sometimes they kill their processes off, but memory's still being held open, you know? So we need to... Yeah. Systems, yeah, whatever's being held open, then we have to free that up. And there's different ways to do it, different ways to kill processes off without having to worry about them. I'm not talking zombie processes, although zombie processes are their own set of problems. Let me keep going. I'm going to keep working on these things that I'm doing. All right, generate high memory load. Can you do that? Do you know how to generate a high memory load on your system? It's always fun to figure out if you've never done it before. There's tools that will do it. There's also things you can do to generate memory, like forking processes that read a large amount of memory in. There's a bunch of things you can do to spin up your memory. But could you do that? Could you then track that if you had some kind of monitoring? These are the things, you know, how would you know that your system was at high load on memory, right? Things to think about, all these other things to spin off and go and spend time with if you need to do that. Hmm. Now we're going to go to Slurm, and we're going to say determining the primary node. Reggie, I'm doing a lot better than I was yesterday. That's for sure. Yesterday I was rough, but today's going a lot better. I'm just kind of hanging out and giving people an opportunity to chill out, and we're gonna do some file system topics next, and look at the file systems in our environment. And yeah, it should be good, right? We're not working too hard. Reggie, no, I'm just trying to get some more streaming hours in because some nights I've been kind of busy, so I'm trying the daytime thing a little bit, and I probably won't stream every day like this. I find it may seem counterintuitive, but I actually stay pretty focused on work while I'm sitting here talking with you guys. So it's just kind of like we're all hanging out here, if you want to think of it like that. I'm kind of using you guys to keep me focused, if that's a fair way to put it. It's keeping me working on stuff, I assure you that. So that's kind of where I'm at. So Slurm determining primary head node, and then let's say we're going to check out Slurm for Slurm. Accessing database. In case they need to access the database for any reason. Yeah, Malvi, I wouldn't have thought it, but I definitely sit around and mess around more when I'm not on stream with you guys. And you might say, really? Yeah, because like when I'm not on stream with you guys, I can just spin up a game, or I can just throw up a freaking Hulu show or something, or Crunchyroll, or whatever. So like when I do this, I can kind of talk to you guys. I've got, this is an old exercise in the top left that we've been doing for a while, but this is valuable. Can you show me all of the space in the root partition of the system? How big is it? How does that compare to maybe the device that runs this whole system, and how much is available? And I think you guys did this, I don't know, I think you guys did that in the lab where somebody chose to make sure that the server's at 69% availability. That's kind of funny. Or the available stuff, so. Leserbeska, you're playing Diablo? Yeah, Diablo 4, right? Diablo 4 came out? Can I tell you guys something? Like, there's this weird thing that happened that I feel like the internet forgot about it. Or maybe there wasn't nearly as much social media when this first happened. But do you know that they announced Diablo 3 probably 8 years before it came out? Anybody remember that? They kept, because I used to play World of Warcraft back then, and I'm like, when's that game coming out? And they legitimately did not release that game for at least 8 more years. They just kept stringing that game along. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it seems like the industry forgets that. D2 to D4, which has a new season at the moment. Interesting. I don't know any of those things inside of the Diablo, but yeah, Reggie, that's probably one of the best things I can hear about it. If my videos have helped you to understand this better, that's the goal. Yeah, Colchis, I remember a little bit about Cyberpunk. Some of you guys don't know, I had to get out of gaming in the early 2000s. I was super addicted to World of Warcraft. I got super addicted to World of Warcraft from about 2006 to 2008. And I was a gladiator level character I had two of in the first two seasons of what they had called arenas. If you guys remember that, at level 70 still. I was a I was a gladiator in two different teams, with my warlock Baraga, which my brother John still plays Baraga, and then with my druid as well. I played a resto druid, and me and my brother, who played a character named Ramathir, we got that on our 2s, and then on our 5s and our 3s we were high enough to be gladiators. So yeah, I was way too fucking addicted to that game. And raiding, I did all the raids, level 60, 70. Did way too much. So yeah, I had to get out of there. Certain Q move, I need to know how to do that. So I'm accessing the database, and then what else do I need to show them on this? Oh yeah, Lezarbisca. I was insane, man. I was absolutely just nuts. I played that game. I quit. So I worked at GoDaddy. I ran their network operations center at night, knock, in 2006, and I just quit one day. I was like, hey, I got a raid to do, and they're like, no, come in, like, don't quit like this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the raid's starting, so peace. And then I literally left at, like, I think I was only there about 6 months. I just left and didn't work for a couple years. Ran a business, and the business was mildly successful, doing networking and stuff. And then I moved out of that and started working at Lockheed and got back into the corporate world. But yeah, I was super addicted to video games for a long time there. It's one of the reasons you guys don't see me play them too much. Hey Atticus, how's it going? We're just messing around. And oh, can we show all the inodes? df-I in the root partition, and then what's the inodes? How do we look at inodes compared to like disk space? And have any of you ever run out of inodes? Professionally, I've seen 3 different file systems run out of inodes. Well, no, let me take that back. I've seen 2 different file systems, but 3 different times. So one of them happened twice, if my memory serves right, which it sometimes does. Pretty sure it's 3 times I've seen inodes run out. It's very rare. What directory am I in? I'm in proc. Can I see all the disk space in the directory I'm in? Well, not really much disk space there, but maybe if I move back to root. Yeah, we got 1.2 gigs hanging out here. Yeah, Lezarbisca, you know, it's funny. All my brothers do gaming, and they still can do it responsibly. But man, I go full Yeti. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but here, I'll show you. There's a YouTube video I'll link for you guys. Actually, maybe I could just pull up the GIF. There's a we always joke around. I'm not gonna pull it up right now. I'll drop it in Discord later. But if you look up on YouTube, it's it's from the show Robot Chicken, and it's an episode where he says, "Have you ever seen a dozen condoms of Coke burst in a Yeti's stomach, in a Yeti's belly, or whatever?" It's a bad look, man. And the Yeti's like standing there in an airport, and it's like that comical Yeti from like the old claymations from when like this probably 50s and 60s. And the Yeti just starts biting people's heads off and going nuts and stuff. And we always joke around about going full Yeti is when you like lose your mind like that and you just start flipping out. And I can't do that in games anymore, man. I for a long time I didn't even have a gaming, like I didn't even have a game capable video card in my machines for a long time. Like this machine here I can game on, but I'm not going to game on it. But yeah, I literally didn't put anything that had a high-end video card in my systems for a long time. Yep, I had characters in WoW. When I quit WoW in like 2008, I had characters that had played times of over a year. And I'm not talking one character, I'm talking multiple characters. And you say, well, WoW was only out since, what, maybe 2004, 2005? Yeah. Yeah, I played the shit out of that game. Yeah, we're playing live right now, Augustus. Yep. Can you show all the space in the current directory you're in? Yeah, we showed that. And we compare that to the actual directory that we're in, about how much space is the specific one we're in. This one's fun. Can you show all the processes that are using the directory you're in? How do you guys do that? See all the processes that are hanging out here. And then here's a fun one. Echo $$ is my bash. What? Is that not? Oh, that wasn't my bash. I missed it. No, that's right. That should be my bash. Oh, there's a 9 in there. God damn it. I'm retarded. Alright. Background music is perfect for learning. I find very zen. Can barely hear, but it's there. Yeah, the music's... Yeah, I keep the music low. Actually, it's funny. I had it up when you guys first came on. It was like... It was all the way over here. And I got a notice from somebody. But it's accurate. I had turned it up a lot because we were talking yesterday. You guys were just listening to me talk, obviously, so... Big Bazooka, is there a tool to display the text bar in green at the bottom of your screen? No, Big Bazooka. I'm actually doing something sneaky there in Streamlabs. So I use Streamlabs desktop. You can also do what I'm doing in OBS. It's not a tool. All it is a you make a ticker. So actually, I'd have to pull it up to look at it. But hold on. So it is a... For people who care about this stuff, it is a text GDI plus type source, and then I read from a file, and then I make that file have a Courier New smaller font size at the bottom. I do a then there's a filter that I apply to it. And the filter that's applied is called scroll, and it has a horizontal speed of 20, and that causes it to just move from left to right like that. So yeah, so to answer the question, for the little text bar at the bottom of the screen that's kind of just scrolling all the time with whatever ticker info I want, that is simply just a data source that's to look at a file, and then you add a filter on top of it that just scrolls. And it just scrolls it left to right, and you guys can't really see it, but it goes off the screen left and right, but then it just wraps. So basically you're seeing across the screen there, you know, from the bottom of the screen there that I can't get to from here, but you're just seeing it scroll what's shown on the screen, but it keeps scrolling off into, you know, until it rewraps and then comes back. So it's across the bottom of the screen, but it's probably like 5 screens wide, really. But you don't see all that because you can only see the screen, you know. So hopefully that makes sense. And Big Bazooka, if you ever do stream and you need help setting that up, just let me know. I'll drop stuff down in Discord if you ever need that. And then that's literally edited out of a file. So if I go to like Note, if I just open up a Notepad, oh, I can't show you guys this, but I could show it to you. I just don't have it set up to show it to you. So if I open up the ticker, I can see that, and then I can modify any piece of it. Like today is, right, I can put the date at the end of it, and then I hit Control S, and it'll update in real time. And then now, when it gets to the end, which it's almost to the end because it's got to do the engineering thought of the day, and then it'll say today is October 17th, 2024, which was obviously not in there before I just did that. So Check the long listings of root, temp, Etsy shadow, Etsy password, and Etsy SSH deconfig. Can you explain all of those permissions? Yeah, look, it's about to get to the end. Engineering Discord, engineering thought of the day. Yep, so here it is. It's getting to engineering thought of the day. Experience is the hardest teacher, gives the test first and the lesson after. Then it'll say unknown. And then it'll go to the end. And the very last thing is it'll just say today is October 17th, 2024. And then it's already wrapping again because it just keeps wrapping. So, Kazubesca, there's a problem for me, but after one full day of gaming, I get sick of games and go from full Yeti to trash can, and I am full already, but the game is trying to throw more trash and they never took me out, so I get 3 to 4 months to chill out. Yeah, Lezer, I wish I could just, man, I would play that game until I'd get fucking sick, man. I played that game in my 20s. I put like 80 pounds on playing that game. I was, like when I started playing that game, I was running 5 miles a day. Every day. I was a runner. I loved it. And then I just never got back into it and just, you know. Anyway, see that today is October 17th. Yeah, so like that was me adding that in. And then I can remove that from the ticker in real time. So I can actually remove that and go, you know what? I don't really want that anymore. And I'll save it. And it'll actually go away in real time. And then maybe I don't like that one little thing on the end, so I save that, and it'll take that little dash right there off, that little pipe. So yeah, that's a little thing. If you ever need help doing that, just let me know and I'll help you out. Whistler, verify operations and communications with nodes. Okay. Then I'm gonna go to system inventory. Systems inventory and checkout. So, yeah, can you remount the temp directory as read-only? That's a fun one. So, I might have a bunch of extra disks on here, and I might just say, like, I just can mess around and just mkfs.ext4 right onto one of these devxvdc. We'll just ext4. My bad. Yeah, we're gonna wipe it. Who cares? What I do xdvc, and then I can just say mount -o rw. What did I say to do? What was the question? Can I mount read only temp? Sorry, dev xvdc on temp, and then df-h will show temp there, and mount will show that it's read only, and I'll say mount-o remount rw for /temp, and then now my mount shows that it's read write, and my df-h shows it, and then I say, I don't want to use that anymore. You mount temp, right? Now it's no longer being used. It's still there, but it's no longer being used. Reggie, I am on quite a bit of virtual machines in my home lab. Yeah, I have a whole army of virtual machines and labs that people can jump into if they're in our Discord or if they're hanging out with me. Yeah. Yeah, so there's, yeah. The Discord, by the way, let me pull up a thing on that. If we go here. If you jump down in our Discord, guys, Discord's always free. Never going to charge anybody for Discord. You are, I'm just going to put it in both chats again, but you are welcome to go hang out in there. We never charge anything from anybody. We just hang out down there as a group. We hit 3,000 people the other day. So we're by no means the biggest, but the goal is to get people from being hobbyists into doing this stuff professionally. We're called the Professional Linux Users Group. That does not mean that we're very professional when we're down there, which is kind of funny. Um, but the goal of it is to get you guys doing this stuff professionally. We've got some Linux systems administration courses running. Some of our guys also, I think, Fisherman's streaming right now, so you can go check out Fisherman Guy Bro. In fact, let me give a shout out to him. I think he's streaming right now. So if you guys aren't following him, you should. You could also hop over there and say hi to him if you wanted to. Maybe he's got some interesting stuff. He does a lot with cloud. He works in that space, and he does a lot with AI. So he's got some certs in AI that are kind of valuable. And then he's also been doing this stuff for a long time. He comes talks to the group every few months. People tend to like his stuff. So, all right. Look at all the files. Do all the stuff. You gotta do. Three dot two. And 3.3. Did you mean have good practice to get off obsessed? Did you mean you have good practice to get off obsessed game? No, Lezerbisca, I really didn't, man. I just had to stop doing it. Same thing with drinking. I didn't stop drinking because I had anything wrong with drinking. I just stopped doing it because I didn't have time. I made myself busy with all the other things. Oh, the bongo song. I'll tell you what it was if you want. Let me go back one. Was it this one? This is called Down Tempo. What was this one called? If it was this one, it's called Down Tempo Serenity. From you could buy this on. I bought all these from Humble Bundle a while back. If it was this one, this is called Down Tempo Serenity. And what happens, guys, like if you guys don't know the way that I get music or the way that I get a lot of stuff is I just go on Humble Bundle when they're having sales. I'll just get stuff for like $20, and then you get just, you know, massive amount of soundtracks, and some are good and some are bad, but this is kind of like my chill. It's kind of my chill one. By the way, guys, look at that question there. That question that just popped up and will be there for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's a trick question. Can you hard link a file across file system boundaries? And is that something that's capable of? Or by being a hard link, do you have to be in the same file system? Does a hard link ever cross a file system? And how does that compare with a soft link, or what people often call a symbolic link? And what's the difference? Right? So that's something to think about right there. All right, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to let that keep running. I'm going to let the music keep going. And you guys can keep hanging out. But yeah, that's called Down Tempo. Yep, Down Tempo Serenade, I believe. Hold on, let me pull that up again. And the artist... Huh. Well, it doesn't tell me what the artist is. But I definitely have the artist. I can find that for you if you want. If you're interested in that. In fact, there's... Yeah, I don't know right off, but that's definitely... good one. No, definitely can't hard link across file systems. That's for sure. Good catch. All right, guys, I'll be back. I'm going to take a walk. I like to walk every few little bits. So you guys can take breaks too. We're at about an hour streaming. So the thing's going to keep running, though. We're going to let that thing run. And I've been getting a lot of work done, so that's good. Yeah, soft linking will wait until another file system comes up and it'll just look broken. But hard linking is definitely not possible because it requires an inode to a memory location. So you can't hard link across, which I'm sure you guys already picked that up, but that's good. All right. Also, I went and got some more water. Where's the thing that determines all the mount points? And you'll see that this is auto-generated in our system here, so that's kind of good. Yeah, Colchis, that's true. That's exactly right. Well, because inodes are relative to the file system you're in, so they would have no way to address something outside of them, right? It would be like if you went to a library and found the card catalog back in the day, and it said go to this other library to find this book, and you'd be like, what the hell? Even if they could do that, they wouldn't want to. So yeah, they don't share stuff outside of. Hold on, I'm coming over here. Determining head node, and then bare metal startup, and then updating werewolf. Okay, yeah, I was sure if inodes were file system specific, I need to read up on inodes. Yeah, Cold Kiss, they're like, if you're old enough to remember card catalogs in a library, they're exactly like card catalogs in a library. They point you to the memory location, and then you would pick up your little card catalog and walk back to the section of the library you needed to go to. And, yeah, they won't ever be outside of it because they're specific to that library or that file system, you know. Can you test your write speed of your file system, and can you test your read speed? That's an interesting one. So I can see how fast it takes me to write or read to root. So I've got some speed here. I can say dd in file equals dev 0. Out file equals, let's just say root big file, because we want to write right to the local machine. Block size equals 1024K, and count equals, let's just say 1,000. So we're going to do a 1 gig file. And if we want to, we can throw a time on the front of this, so it'll also timestamp that for us. And it says that 884 megabytes per second, you wrote out that 1 gig. And this is how long it took, and this is also how long it took approximately. So those are pretty close. And I say, okay, but what if I wanted to write out into like the labs directory? The labs directory is NFS, so that's going to be a little slower. Labs, big file, right? Let's go right over there. That's going to take a little bit longer because that's an NFS mount. See that? And we only got 260 megabytes per second, right? So we're looking at this from a file system. When you look at things down out of your operating system, guys, you're almost always looking at megabytes. But when you're looking at things up from the network, you're almost always looking at a lowercase b, which is your bits. And what's the difference between them? About 1/8. Actually, it's exactly 1/8, right? So if you're up here and you go, well, how many bytes was this? You would multiply this by 8. And if you were down on the bytes looking up, you would divide it by 8. So, yeah, so that's something to think about as you do that. And then we always try to be good stewards of our data, so we cd the / ls rm-rf big file, and then we cd to labs. rm-r file, just to be good stewards of our data and our space, right? Where am I at? Verify nodes are pulling correct images. This is all updating operations. Pulling correct images. Running Slurm. Okay. See if I had done partition, that kind of stuff. Okay. I need to add, man, I got so much stuff to add to this training. Can't believe we're all the way over to Thursday, and I mean, I've been hammering away at this, and I'm still only getting, I mean, I'm still like etching out a lot of the stuff that I need to put in here. So verifying nodes are pulling correct images. So console connections to nodes. Let's see. Let's go 3.5. Console connection to nodes. 3.6. Okay, can you show all the interfaces on your system? That's a fun one. We're over in networking now, huh? I was looking away for a second. Resetting nodes, console connections to nodes. Call that node checkout. So it's going to be a longer one. Oh wow. Got so many things to keep adding here, guys. IP adder is a good one. I like that one. Can I show you one that's kind of fun? IP-BR adder. It's a brief IP adder, and I actually prefer that most of the time now when I'm looking quick at things. And no, you can't put the BR after. It's so dumb. It has to go in between. IP-BR adder. If you go after, it looks, yeah. I really like this one now, man. It's really been, because you have NMCLI on a lot of systems as well, and you can say con show and do that, and that's kind of useful as well. But I like just the brevity, the brief address instead of everything sometimes. So yeah. How do you see if the interface is actually connected to something? Does anybody know? This is one I used to use all the time on physical boxes. This is still super useful on virtual machines, but what's the tool that we use to know that the system is connected? There's a tool that's gonna run for you real nice. You can do different, there's a bunch of things that this tool will tell you about the Ethernet, but I only use it for the one thing normally. Hey, Gail, hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I don't know if I said that right, but let's go with ETH tool. ETH 0. And at the very minimum, it'll give us that. But sometimes it'll go full verbose by default. I never do it the other way. It used to give you everything by default, but I think now it's just like very terse, very short. But you can, let's see if we can find, let's do that and then say grep verbose. No, nothing? Or maybe grep -i all. Let's try eth tool, eth0. Well, well, that's fine. The point is it gives us that the link is detected. If the link is detected here, this on a physical device is when you used to go and check to see if it was actually like a yellow or a green light, you know? And I'm colorblind, but I can at least see if the light is on or off, right? And I can tell you that this would tell me, does it see the other side? And some of these will give you varying levels of, let's jump out of here and say eth tool, eth0, IP header, and what is his? His is, oh, he's got this weird one. Eth tool, enxo, and that's showing that. But if we come all the way, yeah, we'll go all the way out of there. My tool, eth0 here, also only shows you that. Some of my boxes for sure show everything. I just don't know which ones they are. Well, let's go look over here. Yeah, eth tool. Yeah, he's doing it too. All right, screw it. I don't know. I don't know where it is, guys. I don't know where anything is anymore. I don't know where anything is anymore. Can you determine the default route? How does my system send data out if it doesn't know how to connect, how to get it somewhere? Where does it go to forward information out? What's your default route? Yeah, IP route will do it. IPR will also do it. Absolutely. Yep. Those are both good. And then in my home lab, because my devices all exist out in this 192.168 network, this is not my normal home network, the 192.168.200 network. It is a separate network that has to go to the C router device on this IP, and then the C router device forwards it to my internal, to my home network, which is 192.168.11.1, and then that's the device that can forward stuff out to the internet. So my home lab, when you guys jump in and you get Bastion host in over to the lab environment, that is not, you're passing through my home lab, but you're not in my home lab unless you come back out of this network. I don't really have anything in place that stops people from doing that, but can you ping your default gateway just 3 times? What? Oh, 3. Can I ping it just 3 times? Enzo Bear, you can absolutely change your default route. Yeah, here's some, and if we're in Rocky, 9. Yeah, we can do IP route add, which is kind of the way that I'm used to doing it. Let's see if they have a good, no, This is a forum. So forums aren't, I wouldn't normally send you guys over to forums, but if they've got a docs on how to do, let me see, I'm looking at their docs. And hold on, I'm looking on their docs. Yeah, Chris, these are all in Discord. This presentation is, and as are my notes. If you go to Discord, I'm sorry, I'm just not showing it right now, but Discord is, if you go down to, it's down in resources, and then presentations, and it's from 7/20 of 2024, and it has 317 lines. No, sorry, that's the one below it. It's from 6/25, and it's got 402 lines. And it starts with list the number of CPUs. Can you tell me the speed in megahertz? In fact, I can pull. Let me just download this whole thing real quick. I just download the whole thing. I wonder if I can open that in my other tool here. Hold on. Let me go to. I've never tried to do this on logsec, but can I just open a file in logsec? I don't think I normally can do that. Let's see if I can import. I don't know what any of that stuff is. Big fat Excel. No, it's all the other thing. But this is not what I want to do. I want to see. I want to see if logsec will just open. Nah, I don't want that crap. Okay. I guess I'd have to show a different window. But the point is, yeah, you know, hold on. I got them here. Let me change this window to the Socratic one real quick, and I will pull this up for you guys. Because yeah, maybe this is useful to you guys too. Oh, those are all new. That's definitely not good. Hold on. Well, it looks like Notepad++ has literally opened everything that's ever been used on my system before. So that's a fun little thing. But let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna switch it over to Socratic Linux answers, and then I'm gonna change this data source real quick. Hold on. For this thing here, logsec is gonna become Notepad++. And I will modify this so it's a little fatter, and then get rid of logsec for a little bit. And then down, where are we at? Can you determine the MTU of the ping? So we're on essentially this one here. So can you determine the MTU of the ping, of the network with ping? So these are my notes that came along with when we did all this. And then just yell at me if I need to move it down because I'm working on this other stuff. But all right, let me get rid of that. Oh, this was the network thing I was looking for. Yeah, this kind of shows you how to do it in NMCLI. I don't know if I really like that too much, but yeah, you can definitely edit the route to answer that question from earlier. I normally use IP route add for that, and then I'll set them if they're default or whatever types they are. Okay, so I think I have. more data here. Okay. Enzabear question, can we change our default? Yes. Okay, good, good. All right, just making sure all that stuff's working for everybody. Get this thing out of the way. Can you properly identify all the IPv6 networks? This was a very specific network environment that we were on, but that will work for you right there. Let's go with insert link before. Insert horizontal line above. That's pretty good. Oh shit. Really? For what you guys can't see, I'm just sitting here inserting a bunch of horizontal lines across my document. Okay. All right. Can you list your open ports? That was always an important one. Can you list the open ports on your system? Can you figure out information about why that port is open? What process put it open? What different stuff was kind of going on there? Can you do all that? It's an important question, right? Right. I need to find a document that I have. Let's see. I have a document that shows how to do Prometheus. Oh yeah, these guys, man, I'll tell you what. I think these are the best things online to go practice with. These guys have these kind of free trainings for you guys to play with if you're getting better at Prometheus. Let me see where they're. I know I definitely have them on here. It's from Prom Labs. Go to 1.1. I need the shoot. I definitely have this in one of my docs, and I gotta go look up one of my docs real quick. File do we change to edit our service number to port mapping? Let me go open. All right. Yeah, this shouldn't change that browser source any. Good. I want to find one of our. Cheat sheet. Oh, this is what I was going to show you guys. For people that want to get better at Prometheus, this is one of the best little cheat sheets on the web. That's a pretty good little tool if you guys haven't used that one before. But yeah, what file do we change? So 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. 1.6. 7. So start using cheat sheet. My job is about 5%. So yeah, live coding. If you go there, if you go look at that page real quick, when you look at any of the things that they give you, if you click the little open in Prometheus, it's like a little magnifying glass. It will drop you into their Prometheus instance that they give you on the, it's just a demo, and you can go and modify that any way you want and build Prometheus queries in there to test. So even if you don't want to do it in your production system, they will let you query any data that they have available in their little prom demo. Super awesome. Probably one of the coolest Prometheus things I found on the web, because they just give you all that to use. Cheeto, have I ever gone over IP table rules? Years later, still no idea what IP tables is mostly being replaced by NF tables in most of the Red Hat. So while I've done a fair amount of IP tables in my life, we don't really set it up much anymore. We almost always use NF tables and firewall CMD to do most everything. So Cheeto, I haven't, but maybe I'll work that in a little bit to the systems administration course, because we are doing security, and security IP tables is directly related to security, but it's also directly related to networking, because it's how do we do that. So yeah, look for that. I'll work on that. Yeah, IP tables is still kicking, guys. I use IP tables, that thing that I was showing you earlier, where I was showing how we can connect and ping to 192.168.200.1. That router is set up using IP tables, but I just do some forwarding rules, so it's pretty simple. It's a Linux server that's acting, because the routing inside of the kernel of a Linux system is so robust that it can just be used to send data packets one way or another out an interface, either side. So it's pretty all right. All right. So I am gonna go update this to however many devices I now have, or how many lab settings I now have. All right, good. Can you connect to another server and test for an open port? You guys know how to do that? So if I was on this system here, my little red Rocky box, can I test? So if I cap my Etsy hosts, and I see all my host file, I know my main werewolf server is right there. Can I connect to that server? Can I do like an NC to werewolf and make sure that he's got 9783 open for me? And then maybe I add a -VZ on there, so it just tells me that I connected and the port was open. But why is it important that that port's open? Does anybody know? Does anybody know anything about werewolf from me talking about it or making you guys scan it or looking it up? What's a N873 port? Why is that important if in a werewolf cluster? First project at a current job was to build Linux-based routers for our office using IP tables. They were from 2015 to 2021. Oh wow, they were in use that long. IO fault. Good. If I never told you guys what got me into Linux, I was, strictly speaking, I was a Linux. Well, hold on, let me fix this. I didn't realize that my thing was over my terminal. Hold on. All right, there we go. Yeah, if you guys have never seen, or I've never told you the story, what got me into Linux was I was working at that school district. I was a network engineer. I had moved up and I was doing all the firewalls and all the wireless for the school district. It was a cushy job. I was learning a lot. I was doing all the Cisco PIX firewall stuff. I understood that very well, and I got some really good skills under my belt from doing that. But then we had this project come up where, well, there were two projects that came up, but one was directly related to me and my firewall. And what had happened was we had set all the students, we were using a tool called WebSense. WebSense is a web filter. It might even still exist, but we were using it in the school district, and we were using it in a non-inline fashion. So it was a port mirroring, and it would block requests from students. Well, what students had found was they could just say, refresh, and 9 of 10 would be blocked, but one of those requests was going to get back through to them, and then they were going to get to whatever porn site or whatever the kids wanted to look at, right? So since we wanted to stop that, we moved over to a Computer Associates model, and this was in the early 2000s. So CA is this company called Computer Associates, and they used to build antivirus. They were kind of big. I think they've been absorbed by somebody by now. They might still be around. I'm not sure. But so what happened was I was working as a network guy, and my firewall rules, I had to make this CA work. There were two things we were going to do. It would only allow us to send traffic through it on 80, 443, 8080, and 8443, like those, and maybe a few other generic ports, but no other ports could be forwarded through this device. Just so you know, it acted as a port forwarder, but it was also a inspection, and it was inline. So on my firewall, instead of everything being able to go out, I had to set my firewall so all devices could no longer talk out unless they were in this very low part of the network where we did like static addressing of like printers and servers and some other stuff. So anyways, the point is I filtered traffic leaving our network by inverting the way that a PIX firewall normally works. All right. So since we did that, right? Since I did that, and since we then set the proxy so everybody had to go through their own CA, what happened was everything worked. It was perfect. But then we had this library program, and this library program could only talk back to its other library application on like port 5000. Let's just say 5000. I think in retrospect it was like 5300 or something, but let's just say 5000. Had to talk on port 5000. That's a example API port we always use, by the way, too. It's also a common port for people to use for if they're running their own internal registry of Docker images and stuff. But anyways, so we had this, and it's sitting there, and what am I thinking here? This app won't work, and we can't proxy through that thing, and we can't move where it is because it's the librarian's computers and whatever. And this was across all the school district. So we're broken. We're like dead in the water, and we can set their proxy, but their proxy can't work on those ports. So we're like, shit. So the very first project I ever did was I took an old server and I want to say it was like rel 4 on it, and I put a SOCKS 5 proxy on it, and that SOCKS 5 proxy just took any traffic that came into it from the library apps machines. They knew to point to it on port 5000, and then we could route them out. It was, and then that device, say, well, where did that device exist? It existed low enough that it was in the unfiltered range. And you say, well, isn't that like, couldn't a student set? Well, no, students didn't have rights to set that. Also, students' machines came up with DHCP, so they were in a higher port range than what. Plus, nobody knew what. I mean, you would have to know what those were, and you'd also have to be able to set yourself in the network, which people couldn't do. So we had multiple reasons that was pretty secure, and it was good enough. But the point is, that little project I did with that one free little Linux box and just running SOCKS 5 proxy, which was super easy to set up, that was the deconflicting part of two $25 million projects. These were big projects for the school district. Like, computer associates coming in had already happened. We were using it. And then I think they came back from like summer break, and they were like, we need this. And I'm like, and then we had to figure out, because we had already paid. I mean, we were already paying for both. You know what our other option was just having a broken library system for everybody. That was an option. It's always an option to do nothing, right? Just accept the broken shit and then let it's not my money anyways, right? But no, we fixed it. Me and my boss, who was also a big Linux guy, he really got me into it a lot. He's actually over at Amazon too now. I keep in touch with him a little bit, but he's in charge of their AWS Outpost stuff. He does a lot of their AWS Outpost, specifically like the researching and that kind of stuff on it. But I might try to get him. I haven't thought of him in a while. I might try to get him to come talk to the group, because he and I have stories going back where we were like hacking the early TiVo boxes because we wanted to FTP the stuff off of his server. He's like one of the guys, if you guys recall, TiVo used to get really mad, and TiVo would take away your ability to use their service if they found out you were tampering with their boxes. And people were like, well, wait a minute, what the fuck? You got all this open source from GPL version 2, or the GNU license version 2, right? Yeah, GPL 2. Yeah. And they go, well, why the hell? And then it went to court, and that's actually why they had to go off of GPL 2, was because of general public license. Yeah, version 2 got swatted down by TiVo, and it was because of stuff that we were, not us but indirectly, but it was like people like us were fucking around with these Linux boxes. Yeah, IO fault. We were sitting there looking at just dead in the water. That's a perfect way to look at it. And the way I think of it is like, it's kind of like I put this thing and two ships passed in the night, instead of like tearing their holes as they passed each other, because we were dead in the water, man. We were not going to be able to get that to work. But then Linux just came in, and some little Linux app, and that ran for many years after I left there too. So All right. So I'm doing my documentation. I'm building up my labs. How many labs do I have? 7 plus another 8. It's 15. Plus another 9. That's 24. So I'm up to 24 total labs now. I'm going to update that and complete that as I go. SNT, every CyberComp I participate has Linux boxes routing using IP tables. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with IP tables. There's IP6 tables too. They're still working. But what I missed, did it capture all the packets on the interface? Can you capture all the packets on the interface to a file? So I've been as I've been talking, I've not been keeping up with this. Can you capture all the packets between interfaces and put them in a file? That's a TCP dump command, right? And then the -W will save it as a PCAP file that you can then pull down and look at with Wireshark or something like that, right? So that's always fun. Interesting. 8-week residency in Phoenix that my boss wants me to do. That's fun. My very first job was at a university 13 years ago. I found out they're still using a C# program that I made to manage unique local admin passwords on all their endpoints. Yeah. Yep. It's fun to see things still run or still be in use. One of our guys that comes and talks to us sometimes, Robbie Reed, he's got one of the talks on our YouTube channel, and he came and talked to us, and he told me when he came back the other day to give a talk that something that I built over at Lockheed Martin is still in use. Well, I built it for a government customer, and the government customer's still using it because he's on a different contract and he's still maintaining it, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, Enzo Bear, if you go to the Discord, right? Go to the Discord and then go to... It's under the presentations channel, but it's near the bottom. And you go up just a little bit, probably back. So it's in the presentations channel, but the date is 6/25/24. And it's called a thought exercise on learning Linux. If this works for you, use it. And then it's a flat text file called Socratic Method Linux PowerPoint, which is directly underneath it. So it's from 6/25. So hopefully you can find that, Enzo. So the slides are the PowerPoint, and then there's a text. Slides under presentation. So the slides are there, but these notes are directly above it at 6/25/2024. And just if you look up thought exercise, I think that would also help too. Can you capture all the traffic on your primary interface? I must have added these later, but that's also capturing all the traffic here, right? All the packets, but not between just one node and another. Yeah, Enzo Bear, hopefully, yeah, I mean, look, I would tell you guys, I was saying this before, if you even just went through these and just typed them in to like a killer coda terminal, and you guys just practice these, I think this would be, and again, like Enzo Bear, I don't know how much, you know, you do Linux or whatever, but I'd say, especially for the more junior people, just doing these commands will tremendously change, like, just your understanding of the system, you know, because you'll be doing so much. So I think we're almost to. So we're all right. So we're still back here. Can we capture all the packets? So this is. I think I added these, but that's still working. Okay, I got to keep doing my training in my other screen. So let me keep looking up this stuff, and okay, record start time and end time. Do. Cheat sheet for, let's see, practice in the cheat sheet for 5 minutes. Nice. All right. Can capture all the traffic on your primary interface and save it out to a file. Maybe I was... Yeah, maybe I copied those a few times. I'm not sure. Is that not moving anymore? That should still be moving. Go make sure that our thing is still rotating. So guys, our Socratic method is automatically advancing every 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Do you get... Oh, there it goes. Okay. Can you test between... can you test the speed between your system and another system? Do you know how to do that? I feel like I have some stuff missing here. Maybe I added some of these. I had to have added some of these later, guys. So I need to add in, because we're not even to disks yet. Prove that our DNS was working. We proved that we could connect to another server. Captured all that. Can we show all the hops between? So can we test the speed between one of our servers and another one? You're going to want iPerf 3 for that. That's a great tool. iPerf 3 is you want a tool iPerf 3 and one node will function as the server. So you'll set it up on one node, the other will test speed to it. And when you function as a server, that's iPerf 3-C, and when you test your connection to it, it's just iPerf 3 and then the name of server, like that. Some of you guys know that's a pretty common engineering convention. If you ever see a less than and a greater than sign around something, you do not include the less than and the greater than sign in the command that you're doing. So you might say, oh, that goes without saying. Yeah, but it doesn't, because I've been teaching people long enough that I know that people will put the name of the server in between the less than and the greater than sign, and that is not the behavior you want 99% of the time. If I needed you to do it like that, I would put single quotes around it. Oh God, and then I hope you don't use single quotes. No, but the point is, that is a very common engineering thing to show less than and greater than signs. They do not get added in with the name of the server. And you might then say, well, why don't you just put name of server there then, Scott? Yeah, because that's what people would put in the command. So I've seen it too many times. Literally way too many times. More times than I can count. Let me add insert horizontal line. All right, found it. Good. Okay, good. You guys found what you need. All right, so we're on disk topics now. Now we're working through the disk things that we need to do. I need to figure out too what I'm gonna do. So for this training that I'm building, I'm going to call you Hano. Thanks for the follow. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We are just kind of working through the Socratic method to answer questions about Linux. And can we do certain things? Everything's a question. Everything's a can you do this? Can you do that? There's no tricks here. All the answers are right here in my notes. So I'm doing something else. I'm co-working, as it were, but I'm walking you guys through. And the first one is, the first disk question will pop up here in a minute, but like, why do you want to know so much about disks? Well, because of the big four, disk storage will definitely be one that stops you in your tracks. I mean, if you hit maximum CPU, your system will still operate. It'll operate slow and sluggishly, but it'll work. High memory, your system has ways to deal with that. And high network, it kind of can deal with that too. But if your disk gets full, you're done. Game over. So disks, we want to monitor them, we want to track them, we want to make sure they're healthy, and that's what all these disk topics are. Can you look around in a Linux system and do the things that you need to do to kind of make sure everything's good, right? So, all right. I am back on my stuff over here, back on my Linux. Linux in the other window, guys. All right, I'm over 10 pages in my lab doc right now, so that's wild. All right. All right. What else? How many disks do you have? Yeah, this is a fun one, right? How many disks do you have in a system? How and we were playing a game of like how many different ways can we do this? Because there's a lot of ways to figure out what disks you have in a system. They range in verbosity. LS block will just show you the block devices, but fdisk-l will dump so much to your screen, maybe more than you ever want to look at, right? So if I'm over here and I do a lsblk, it'll list all the block devices I have. But if I do an ls block -f, it'll give me if there's any file systems on them. And we made that ext4 earlier on XVDC, and we haven't rebooted them yet. And if we do an fdisk-l, we'll see way more information than we probably want. It dumps a whole bunch of info to the screen. And then if we had different partitions, this would get even more messy, right? We can see ls. All right. Then we have to know, can we check how many partitions we have? So what's the difference between a disk partition? Hey, Control Byte, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing good. Thank you for the Prime.
26 months off.
Man, I mean, I appreciate it. Like, 26 months is a long time. I've only been streaming for, I guess, just over 3 years. But Control Byte's been around for a long time of it, so I definitely appreciate you coming. Hopefully this stuff's always been useful to you. The goal of all of this is to get you guys doing this stuff professionally, because I know you guys can do this, and I suspect most of you can do it better than me. You probably just don't believe it yet. But then when you start to do it, you're like, oh, this is all the stuff that Scott does? All right, so how many disk partitions do I have? ls block -f. Same thing that we did, but we don't have any partitions on this disk. Right? Whoops. I was looking over there and thinking, no partitions. But I might have partitions on one of my other boxes. Let's go, we're in this guy, let's go out of there. fdisk-l, script-sv. So we're only looking at, look, I got some partitions on the first disk here. He's got some partitions. And then when we do PVS, EGS, LVS, we see that some of those partitions were actually added directly into my volume groups to be used. Storage can get real weird, guys. Storage can get real weird. Chris, I'm not a wizard. I'm just a guy who's been doing it a long time. I do tell people often, though, it's funny, like, my management thinks that I sit around and cast spells. They don't really know what I do most of the time. Although, my current role, my manager, the guy who kind of runs most of my day-to-day activities, he's our chief technology officer, and he's pretty good at what he does. He knows systems very well, even though he would tell you guys, he'd be like, hey, I'm just a sales guy. But it's like, no, he knows systems pretty well. He pretends not to, but he knows more than he lets on sometimes, which is actually kind of a funny characteristic. But yeah, Control Byte, I appreciate that, man. Like, hopefully, yeah. And then, you know, as you've been here, I think Control Byte, you're one of the ones who did most of my lab editing, if I recall. I'm really bad with everybody's names, but I'm pretty sure Control Byte's one of the guys that edited most of my stuff and made it better. So that was a big deal. You know, we have all these labs out there that you guys can go play with and get your hands on. Like, the labs will show you 90% of this stuff that we're doing here. How do you check which file systems are on there? Yeah, how do you check what file systems are on the disks, if there are file systems? ls block shows you what's there. ls block -f will give you even more information, tell you the file system type if it knows it. Mount will tell you things, like if I just mount in the grep-i for, like, let's just look for, like, do I have any special mounts on here? I don't think I have any real special mounts on here, so we'll just do mount. And then I'd see, like, tempfs for some user is whatever. And then maybe if I go look at this one, here's our root one. I can see information about what's going on there. And what was the question? Check on my what file system? Yeah, I can see the file system right here. Type is XFS, right? Then we can do find mount. Find mount is one. Man, I had forgotten about this one. Look at that guy. That thing's showing you all kinds of crap. Oh, that crap. I had forgotten about this command. This is why I do this sometimes. It reminds me of stuff. And then we can look for just ext4 or xfs. This, I used to use egrep all the time, and then somebody pointed out to me that it's been deprecated. So grep-E will do it. The I just says ignore case. And then we look for ext4 or xfs. So this is an inclusive or, which means that you're going to get this or this, which is going to be bigger than if you were to do just like a grep for ext4 and then a grep for xfs, which is an and if you did those piped to back to back, and you wouldn't find anything, right? So this is an or. I want to find all the things that are this or this. It's a useful way to search, and it's useful to know how your searches can work. So, okay. Do I need to move this just, hold on, do I need to move this just slightly over so you guys can see it better? Nope, wrong one. Let me move this over just slightly so you guys can see that better. Okay, good. All right, better. And we're just kind of working on stuff while I'm doing other stuff in my home lab here and working on my documentation for work. So, getting rid of the word record because it's bugging me. I said record start time and record, whoops, and record end time. But now I don't like it, so I'm getting rid of it. Deaden, you got Grafana working with Prometheus? And didn't you just get a cert the other day too, Deaden? I recall correctly. Now you need to do more graphs. Somebody had asked me earlier about where to go for more graphs, and I would go if you look for dashboards on. Yeah, I thought it was RHCSA. I just didn't want to call that out if that was the wrong one. But if you go look at the if you look at dashboards from what is it called? It's called dashboards. Sorry guys, I'm doing something else while I'm talking here, so it's my brain doesn't work well when I do more than one thing at a time. Anyways, it's called Dashboards on Grafana, and if you go to that, what happens is you will find the if you look on there, you will find a bunch of examples, right? And there's nothing. I mean, it sucks starting from a blank page. Any engineer out there, there's an old saying in design and there's an old saying in writing: good writers borrow, great writers steal. So it's like find something that, you know, resonates with you, and then you know, take it and modify it for your needs, right? If somebody posted up there, it was already fair game to use, and if it's fair game to use, then it's fair game to modify, right? That's a general idea of any of these things. If I can read a thing and you've given me permission to then read and use that thing, then I also have permission to modify it and use it internally as well. Now there may be, I don't know if there's any usage like to then go sell that, but that's, you know, that's the difference between open source and closed source a lot of the times, right? By the way, you know what we haven't done in a long time since our group got big? This would be a fun one to do again, is rewatch the old Linux movie called Revolution OS. I don't know if you guys remember us. We did that down in the Discord a while back. I gotta see if I have access to my friend's Plex server still. Pretty sure last time I checked I did. So I might be able to run that off of there. Need to install node export on my other nodes and then add the IP to Prometheus. Yeah, Dead, and that's really the next thing. So what it is you set up, if you've got Prometheus sitting there, you could think of Prometheus like just a scythe. You know, it's just swinging around. You ever seen one of those like things where they they show springs being made in slow motion, and that little arm is coming around, and it's like chopping the springs off every few seconds. But when you watch it in full speed, it's like going too fast for the eye to see. That's kind of how I think of Prometheus, except it takes 10 seconds to get around the network. But anyways, it goes and it pulls everything on the network, almost like it's just slicing things off as fast as it can. And then it's grabbing data off of Node Exporter. So all you got to do, is set up Node Exporter and then add to your scrape configs. And it's typically etc Prometheus, prometheus.yaml. And then you could set the scrape config underneath that file, or you can point it to a bunch of individual config files. In fact, in my home lab, it looks like this. So if I SH to Prometheus, I think it might be Prometheus 2 in my home lab now, because I might have blown away the original Prometheus. No, maybe I didn't. Let's see, Prometheus. And you see all these that I have in here? These are all just, I chose to use them to put them right in this directory. But when I did this, I also generated these through an Ansible playbook. And that playbook's up in our Discord. So if you need to use that to push Node Exporter everywhere and then to update your Prometheus, you can do that. But this just generates them in the in the Prometheus file. Excuse me. Let's set background equal to dark for you guys. If we come down here, I'm saying prolog lab scrape is any file.json. Now you could, to make it a little more clean, I really could just put it one directory down and then be like configs. But this is generated automatically by one of my playbooks that is available. If you look up like Node Exporter, maybe in the Ansible channel, Ansible code, I have it in there and how to run it and all that stuff. So you're welcome to go play with that if you want. All right, let's come back over here. We talked about this. Can you verify the disk read and write speeds? Can you verify how fast your system's actually working? We hope systems are as fast as we say they are, but can we verify that they're as fast as they say they are? Most likely start messing around with Ansible. Good. Yeah, Dead, there's nothing that can happen with Ansible that's not going to be good for your career. Like everything inside of Ansible, every tool or little module that you can figure out how to use better is going to help you do things in an automated fashion. And man, I use Ansible all the time. Use it all the time. It's a great tool. It's just the scaffolding around our SSHs and our chroot jails and all these things that we don't have to do. Would you guys like to see, so I already think I know the answer to this, but would you guys like to see me use Ansible in like a chroot jail and like update one of these? Like if we wanted to update, you have seen me go down into these container images for like the Rocky boxes, but would you guys want to see me like use Ansible for that? Because I don't have to go in there and modify those by hand. I can use Ansible for that. It's called a chroot jail, and you can do it as we do it by using the exec and dropping in there, or we can use Ansible and just do it live. Right? All right. From what I can see, you can't even get an extra job without Ansible in the UK. Yeah, Dead, and I'll tell you what, like, because everybody wants you to be worth 10 of you, right? And somebody, look, guys, I could be the fastest guy. When I was younger, I typed about 130, 140 words a minute. I could barely probably hit like 70 or 80 right now. I'm nice and slow and have errors everywhere. But I'm going to tell you guys this. One of the things is, even if I did things as fast as I could do them, right, I would not be able to outpace what I can do with Ansible. Like if I was going to go to this and go, okay, Rocky 1, boom, Rocky 2, boom, Rocky 3, boom. But if I were to just control R for Ansible, and I just go hit all those servers real quick, look how much faster this is going to do it than me. Plus, I probably would have messed up one of those commands, because fat fingering stuff is like the number one thing that happens. By the way, we got a node down. 16. Somebody busted 16. It's okay. Guys, that's what the lab's for, man. If you break something in the lab, I think that's great. I think that's one of the best things ever. I'm going to go look at what's busted on that lab real quick. It is at a dead hard disk state, so we're going to reboot him. And if we need to, we're going to wipe him. Oh, yeah, control byte. I would say reduce server setup time for me to where I never even had to touch servers again. Like, I didn't even build it. Like, I automated that stuff down. Between me and Michael Pessa, we did so much automation that we could have, that we couldn't have done our job with only 5 or 6 Linux engineers with 2,000 servers without all the Ansible and automation we did. There's no way. There's just no freaking way. Yep. I'm gonna get this box to. Nope, somebody's messing around with these boxes. Somebody has messed around with 2 Linux boxes now in such a way as that they've set the server itself to want to boot off of the hard disk. So it's being done on purpose, but like it's not enough to like stop me from like letting people keep jumping into the lab yet. But you know, I could also go dig in and catch who's doing it, but I just don't want that to become a thing if I don't have to. So, yeah, somebody's messing around with stuff because yeah, maybe people are actually doing all their disk stuff and it's helping them. I don't know. Guys, this is very important. What users have logged into the system in the last 24 hours? Can you guys figure that out? Does anybody here know how to do that? Why might you want to know that? I mean, why would it be important? If I do a last more, why is it so important that I see how many times streamers log? Man, that's a lot. All of these are page by page. Jeez, look at that. That's all the time since October 7th that somebody's logged into my servers here. There's me, some of them, right? But these are all other people logging in. And that's good. Like, I want people to log in and use the servers and use the systems and stuff. But that's good. Yeah, I love last tack. What happens is, this is important. Last reads backwards. So with tack, you will automatically switch around the order. So then you can do last tack and you'll see it in a much more palatable way of doing it. So that's actually a really good one to use. Yep, last pipe more or last pipe tack. Tack just shows you the most recent stuff down here, because otherwise you're looking at stuff from the 7th and you're like, I want to know who's on there right now, right? So I'll clear that off because that's people's IPs and people sometimes get weird about their IPs and stuff like that. So 80 Quartz, I appreciate you becoming a member over on the YouTube side. I think I only have like 4 or 5 members, and I don't even know what all that means on the YouTube side. I really just have YouTube running because it makes a nice storage location for me, so that's kind of cool. Like, it stores all this stuff. Even though we're just kind of messing around, this stuff's still kind of valuable to people, I think. But co-working just means that I'm doing all this other stuff and, you know, testing out things and figuring stuff out as we go. So, all right. Guys, I'm going to walk away from my system real quick. And actually, I do have to stop here shortly for a meeting. So, let me... Actually, I guess technically I could just turn off the microphone here. Let me try something real quick. Did you guys hear me say that? I don't think you did. Like, if I just cut out... I should have cut out there. Yeah. Yeah, I get a whiteboard. I'd definitely get in trouble if I stream my meeting. But I guess I could turn off my sound for the meeting. And then just let that keep running while I do my meeting. I think that would be fine. Can you tell me what pit is listening? Yeah, Mint, that's a good one. That's a good one. The LSOF-I. Where are we at? Oh, man, I haven't even been keeping up. Can you tell me what pit is listening? Look at all these different ones right here that might be useful to you. Share the Zoom link. It's pretty good. It's Google Meet, though. My boss will be there. He'll kill me. He'd be like, why are you letting all these plebes in here? And I'll be like, I don't even know what a plebe is, boss. But I bet if I had said that to them, they would have been insulted. So, boss, don't talk like that. That's what I'd have told them. So, I'm just kidding. Also, I'm realizing I have to go to the college tonight. I actually have to physically go in there for my This is Unit 7 this week. So I got to go in for this one last night. And we'll just go over a bunch of stuff on Cisco. And then we'll go through it. Now, I know some of you guys have mentioned... Some of you guys... my boss isn't too bad, ex-Shunya. He's just the chief technology officer of the company. So he's not bad. He's a good guy. All right. I'm going to take a walk for a second. And then, yeah, I'll probably just put you guys on mute during, and then I'll just do something like this. Like, I'll just do something like echo. Right? I'll do something like this, and then I'll just wrap it in a while true. While true do. Echo, I am in a meeting, behavior cells. Sleep 10, date, done, right? And then I'll just do something like this. But I'm not in the meeting just yet, so I'll get in there shortly. Also, I'll be watching while you guys are down there hanging out. Make sure you let me know if you guys have any questions about it, especially the security ones. If you need to see some of the stuff. Can you tell how the SSHD daemon was started on the system? There's a bunch of dependencies for it too. So that's kind of an important thing to understand. That's a good start. Yep. How about this one? Try this one real quick. You guys might like this one. Try this analyze critical chain. Try that one. Oh. Dash spell, system to analyze, critical chain. System to analyze. Yeah, that should work. Hold on, what's going on here? Critical dash chain. SSH. D dot service. It depends on which version of Linux you're using. But it'll show you all the things that had to start up for that system to come up. So that's a fun one. All right, I'm walking away for 1 second to stretch my legs out, and then I'll come back for my meeting. Let's see. Take a break. I'll be back. All right, back. Got my water bottles. Got my water bottles. Take a break, guys. Take a break. Can you list the kernel modules? Why would it matter if you knew what all the kernel modules were that were in a system. That's an important question. Why does any of this stuff matter? Like, knowing how to do it's important. But why would I want less kernel modules than others? Well, it's less of an attack surface for my kernel. Maybe I've removed hardware or upgraded to newer hardware and older kernel modules aren't needed anymore. I've had to switch out kernel modules because because sometimes when you update to a new kernel, you have to reinstall some software and then you have to add new modules into the kernel. Sometimes that can be done live. Sometimes that can't be done live. If it can't be done live and you're doing like a big storage cluster or something like that, then now you got to worry about taking downtime. And how do you take downtime when hundreds of teams and hundreds of services maybe potentially use some back-end storage? Obviously, you can roll through certain devices. Like if you have devices that are in high availability configurations, you can roll through them and get them back up and this kind of stuff. But at some point, sometimes you have to still take like some major thing down, and this is something you can go play with. How can you verify that a file has not changed in the last 3 days? I know a few other ways to do this now too. Yeah, Atticus, I'm a big fan of anything that can stuff this stuff into people's heads better. You know, anything that can get you guys into doing this more effectively. Nice. Yeah, the hard way. Yeah, visudo is the way that most people prefer. Yeah, you can stat the file and see that it's not changed. You can also use IO Watch and IO Notify. So those are two tools that exist out there. Oh, I might not have it, but IO Watch and IO Notify can alert you. You can run a process that uses those to see that nothing's changed in your file system. You could write your own tripwire. Tripwire hasn't been maintained in like forever, but there's tools that do tripwire type stuff, hashing and or just monitoring system calls to files, you know. Oh no, Chris. That's terrible, Chris. Chris, there was another way to do it, though. You could have, well, I don't know about on Raspis, because I have a few Raspis, and they all have to boot to that one. No, we could have done it. We could have mounted that disk separately and went and fixed it. That would have worked. Yeah, just mount the disk offline and then move into your Etsy sudoers file and modify it. That would have worked. Okay, guys, I got to run this meeting, so I'm going to put this back to my meeting. So you guys are on meeting time. I'm going to go on mute here, and I will still be able to see what's going on, though. Don't worry about that. But I'll be working on this other stuff, so. All right, I'll be back. Hey, real quick, when I go on mute like that, can you guys still hear the sound coming from the desktop? So when I go on mute, does the music cut out for you guys, or is the music not cut out for you guys? I would think the music didn't cut out because it's coming through. I have the music coming through that desktop audio mixer. That's just a curiosity thing to me. I don't know if you guys, if anybody's noticed or whatever. It cuts out. Oh, it does cut out? Ah. I could have sworn, because I have desktop audio as a separate source. Oh, the music still plays. Okay, that's what I care about. I care about that you guys still have music. All right, I'm cutting out. I'll see you guys here in 30 minutes.
We can hear you. Sorry, I was grabbing a sandwich. Pretty good. I spent the whole day in the data center. Again, I just got home. Never did. No, I just got home, so there's no. Oh, do I wear AirPods in the data center? No, I should. Very true. Yeah, I didn't eat lunch again, so I was like, all right, stop on the way home. Ooh.
Hey.
Hey-o.
Your turn, James. James.
I'm here, Don. I'm here. I'm sorry. Jumped away for a second.
All right. Then just say I'm on the can.
I'm not taking a shit right now.
Well.
All right, I'm back. You guys should be able to hear me again. Sorry about that. Yeah, we apparently. So I know I have my microphone Yeti source, but then I also have a desktop audio source too, and then I also have a Windows Media Player source as well. Which it's funny, those two don't seem to have come back. So that's kind of interesting. But hopefully, you guys should be able to hear me. Properties, desktop audio. Yep, should be good. Alright. So I'm assuming I'm back to good because I can see you guys there. Although, yeah, again, the media player not doing good. Alright, let's see if this sound comes through right. Oh, there we go. Well, the problem was that there was no sound coming through it, so... Alright, better. You guys can hear that, but you guys can't hear me? You guys should hear me on the Yeti. Yeah, just no good with that stuff. But I think you guys should be hearing me. Okay, good. Alright. So, where are we at? Can you tell how many versions of the kernel available? And did we go past all this? Oh, are we down in here? Okay. So this is also a security thing though. Why would these things matter? You know, how many versions of a kernel you have. Why would that matter for security? That is a security thing. It's also just a regular systems thing, but it is it's important. Like the versions of the kernel you have on the system are going to be something that determines how that system behaves, how it handles all kinds of attacks that can come against it. And a lot of times you'll find if you go look up the CVEs that are out there, they are defined to specific kernels. Night Strike, how's it going? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I'm just co-working as I build my training in a different document or in a different stream over here, different screen. And I'm just kind of knocking stuff out as I go. I have lots and lots of stuff to keep adding in, so. What are you guys working on? Anybody here working, co-working, or just hanging out while they're sitting here? I know also that I don't have my normal setup. Normally I have the closed captioning at the bottom, but I don't have that on right now. Learning Java, nice. What are you learning Java for? What's the purpose of the Java, if you don't mind me asking? Are you going to do software engineering? Are you doing it for fun? Are you want an internship? Nice. Nice. Local company, very good. Night Strike said, one quick question from a dev with limited sysadmin knowledge. If I have multiple SSH servers, is it a good idea to somehow send a remote command to update them all without using an unattended upgrade? Yeah, Night Strike, that's how I do all my updates. Most of how I do that will be either just send it and let them update themselves and then I'll verify later, or what's pretty convenient and nice is to use use like a scaffolding, like a tool like Ansible, and then Ansible can let me know if the update finished. So yeah, I would definitely like the way I used to do my updates was I would just loop over a bunch of servers with like a for loop, and then after it was done I would just check to make sure that they had all updated today. But nowadays with like Ansible you could be a little more proactive and check things out and that kind of stuff. So Chris is looking through some SUSE documentation. Yeah. And then don't forget to also search SLES, which is the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. It's the paid for version that is actually pretty good. Martai, you're trying to pass an exam. Nice. Yeah, DevOps is one of these things. I only first started hearing about DevOps probably about 8 years ago in the industry, but it's kind of the terminology that a lot of people use for our interface between the guys that are me, who I'm the server guy, and I'm the guy who keeps the platform stable, and the other guys who are like the coders, you know, the developers. And a lot of times, yeah, devs and ops have been at each other's throat all the time. Night Strike bar. Night Strike, I don't know if I have anything that's specifically, but I mean, like you guys sometimes see it in here. I can show you, like, if I want to go hit a server. Well, I guess I have labs on it too, but let's say, so in this environment, I want to hit all of my nodes and Ansible servers. I'll show you where servers comes from. It comes from a good inventory file. 16 is still down. Okay. But I have cd etc Ansible, and in here I have this host file, and the host file at the bottom has all my Rocky servers defined as servers. So then when I build my little ad hoc command to go check all the servers, I can do it like this. And then if I need to build something to update them, I actually have a, let me see if I have one of these other windows real quick. Hold on. That one's the wrong one. Let's try that one. That one's also not set up right. Okay. I was hoping one of those just had my my screen up front on it so that you guys could see. I guess I can just bring in, give me a second here. Let me add in let's change this one. I keep having this bad habit of just changing crap over, and it's not a good way to do this. But let me go with shoot, I don't know where one of my labs are. Yeah, well, but I don't have it right here. But if you do Night Strike, you're on the YouTube side, so you can't just do ! labs. But I do have a bunch of labs on that show how updates go. It's an easy way to show this. Yeah, 100% Night Strike. That's exactly what we use Ansible for. That use case is perfectly what we would use it for. Let me pull up. I'm gonna grab this and pull it up for you guys here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go look for this thing. All right, you guys should be able to see that. I'm gonna move that in front of these other things just so you can see it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you. So I've got these killer Coda labs, which are free. They don't cost you anything. And if you go on the Killer Coda Labs for Ansible, that's me, and you come down here to, like, in this case, let's say we wanted to, like, clean up packages or maybe update a server. I think I even have one on installing things, but let's say clean up packages and install stuff. So right here, we come in here real quick. Hold on. We got to clean up, and then we're going to update. Whoops, we're going to update all of our stuff real quick here. And I'm going to make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. But if we cat root hosts, here's our host files. And if we do our root remove packages .yaml, in this case, we're removing packages from the systems, but we are, you know, we don't have any decisions here on this one. So hold on, let's go back. That Ansible playbook would remove things for you. Let's see if I got one where I update stuff. I think I actually do it here. This is a flat file version though, so this is like a single playbook before we get into Ansible roles and stuff, which role inheritance is not super difficult, but it's just... So in this environment we have like an app DB and an app web, and we want to add packages to them differently. We want to update all the packages, so we're going to update everything on all the nodes, but then we're going to do a, I think, install. And in here, we're going to install some packages on the nodes that are web in the app. So yeah, Ansible does basic test. This is like an if-then test. So this is very Python-esque, and because it's all Python on the hood. If DB is in app, so it says when, but it's when DB is in app, it does this. And when web is in app, it does this. So when we look back at our little configurations, app is either database or web, and those servers are going to have this task executed against them only when that condition occurs. So this is going to become a web server, and this is going to become a MariaDB server right here. So that's, yeah, I have some labs on that. If you guys need those labs, I mean, obviously all the labs are free in Killer Coda. If you wanted to use a tool like that, that gives you some ideas of how to use it. So, yeah. So hopefully that's good for you. Until DevOps is first pushed by small fintech firms. Nice. I think Killer Code is one of the best free sites on the web. I mean, where else can you just get your hands on this? I tell you guys, like when I started with Linux, it was like somebody would throw you a CD, and if you couldn't get that freaking Linux to install, they'd be like, well, I guess you're not a Linux engineer then. And that was it. That was the end of your career. You didn't do any more Linux after that. Like that's how we determined if you could be a Linux engineer back in the day. Now you can go do all these other things. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. Now you can do a lot more of this other stuff because you can get your hands on it. So yeah, Night Strike, if you have any problems with that, or if you need any more on that, go down in the Discord and hang out, and I'm always around if you have any questions or anything. But I mean, I'll be on for a little while longer. I'm still working through some stuff. I think I told you guys in about 3 hours I got to go to the college and work for a bit. I actually have to physically be in the college today. That's always fun. First Linux I seen was dual booted. Yeah, I used to dual boot way long time ago. Most of us won't dual boot anymore, but it's a great. He just dual booted to do it. Hey, I'm telling you, if you can at least get it installed, that's the way we used to know that you could be a Linux engineer. And if you couldn't get it installed, you couldn't be a Linux engineer. That was it. That was it. That was all. That was the whole game. Could you get that installed or no? Yeah, man, the old Knopics, or some people call it Canopics. You know, it's there. We love the Penguin Linux logo, yeah, for sure. All right, so we're still doing the lab. So that lab I need to make sure that that's still rolling for you guys. But can you show what SSHD service is running? I'm gonna close out this stuff because you guys don't need that for now. But how do you know that SSHD is running on a server? These are all the ways that I can think of right here. And then, you know, obviously if you guys have more, let's keep adding to them, right? But these are the notes that we have. Yeah, I have a whole Night Strike. I have a Terraform associate that I let lapse, and a Vault associate that, now that I think about it, is going to lapse soon. Or did that just lapse? I don't know. But the point is, yeah, I use Vault and Terraform pretty okay amounts, not much professionally, but I do use them in the lab here. So but it's funny, I built those, and then over on their site they actually have little vaults that you can run now too, so you don't really need my stuff as much anymore on there. So I haven't been like really telling people too much about those ones on Killer Coda, but they do exist and they do fun things. In fact, my most complex lab is in the HashiCorp one, and it shows you how to do Ansible with Vault. So you use Ansible to pull secrets out of a vault. And I think that's a fun one. But I show that to you guys sometimes when we're doing kind of like more advanced Ansible stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, guys. And then the other thing too is, like, you know, if this stuff's good, if this works for you, go jump in the Discord, right? There's a Discord. If people need access to it, hold on. I can give you guys the link here. Here is Discord over here, and then I'll pull up that link for you guys over on the I'll just post it here, so it's gonna link back in there, but that's fine. I'm linking it to both chats there, so that's fine. That Discord should work, and if that link ever doesn't work, just go to incognito, and it tends to work for people. I don't know why it doesn't work. otherwise because it was set to never expire. So you guys are welcome to kind of hang out with that. Okay, so can you show how SSHD was started and what's its parent process? So here's some commands that would show you. Obviously with this one you're gonna have to change that to the PID from the line before. So give the parent ID that you find there. Jarvis Linux. That name actually sounds familiar. Is that a real one or no? I feel like you guys might be messing with me, but that also could have been an early one. All right. All right, so I got to spend more time in each one of these. So I got 80, 47, 50, 47, 50, and 8. So I have not added any today, but I have added a bunch of labs, so that's important. So PSAEF, let me go check that one out. Right, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is us just doing it. PS-AEF. That might give some good information. It does show you your parent ID. This is your parent process ID and your process ID. So yeah. But interestingly enough, is what does it mean to have been kicked off by the parent process ID of 1? What does it mean that your parent is 1? AEG? Let me see. That's pretty cool. That's probably just... That actually is pretty good. I like that. Shows what I've been doing in my different terminals. That's good. Man, there's so many different ways to use and view processes, guys. There's a lot of stuff that you can kind of go do and get in there and get better at this stuff. So let me see if, let me go check something real quick here, guys. One of our other guys, is he still on? Hey guys, I wasn't gonna do this, but because Fisherman's still on, let's go raid him. So I'll drop off here for a bit, guys. We'll come back. We'll mess with this stuff again. Don't worry about that. I want to raid over to Fisherman, and then for you guys on the YouTube side of things, you know, we'll keep hanging out like this because I get a lot of stuff done. So let's go find, where is, he better not have just dropped off. Where is he? He better be there still. Hold on, we're gonna go raid Fisherman. There he is. We're getting him because he's studying stuff. So all right, guys, AFG. Okay, hold on, AFG. Oh, that's pretty slick, man. I do like that a lot. That is super cool. Hold on, that's going in the notes. And then we're rating. I like that a lot. Mangler, that's pretty cool, man. All right, we're raiding, though, because we want to go hang out with guys, I'm telling you, you may find your favorite streamer here. So we're going to go raid him. He's doing some co-working, too. He's actually the reason I started co-working, because I was like, hey, this stuff's pretty fun. We're going to go hang out over there, and you guys on YouTube, come hang out in the Discord. The water's warm. We don't charge anything, and I appreciate you guys coming by. All right, I will see most of you either later tonight or throughout the rest of the week here. Take care, guys.